Hi, guys. This is week 3 of forensic science. Hope everybody's doing well. You guys are doing a good job with getting all your work in, trying to keep up with everything. I know it can be difficult to do with everything that you might have going on in your own home. So try to keep up on all your studies best you can. But I'm trying to keep it as organized as I can for you guys. So I made a little sheet and I'm going to kind of go over some things so far of what I have assigned to you guys and what I expect to be done and kind of turned in here soon. So, week 1, we did several Google forms. So, I gave you a video and I had you answer some questions about the video that I told you. I went over the syllabus. The next thing is I gave you a little pre-test, and that was a Google form too. And then lastly, on week 1, I assigned you a forensic file, and that was a Google Doc. And several of you have gotten that turned in. Several of you don't have it turned in. So you may need to go back and look at that forensic file Friday, number 1 on Legionnaire's disease. Last week, we watched a video. You guys watched a video on just talking about forensics in general, and I had a Google form where you answered questions with the video. Then later on, like on Wednesday, I assigned a Forensic Science 101, and I had you read a document, and then you did this new interactive worksheet, which is on a website called Weezer, or not Weezer, Wiser.me. And I'm going to kind of go over that because some of you had some questions on the interactive worksheet because you can't see your score or what did you get or what do I see. So I'm going to kind of show you that. And then on Friday, I assigned your forensic file, which was called Step by Step, and that isn't due until this following Friday. Today, I'm going to assign you some notes, and it will be on wiser.me. Everything will be right there for you. So all you have to do is access the notes and then just fill in the blanks on, and it's an interactive worksheet. So I like wiser.me because it makes it more interesting instead of a boring old Google Doc. So let me kind of go over what I'm seeing from you guys. So when you guys do a Google, or not a Google, but actually, if you do a Google like form, make sure that you go back to your classroom and say that you did it. I mean, just click on submit or whatever, submit, and then go back and turn it in if you can. Next thing on this interactive worksheet, so the one that I will be assigning you today, it'll look something like this. And as you as a learner, it'll actually look like this. And I have the actual PDF that you open up. It's like a PowerPoint. And essentially, you're going to go through that PowerPoint, you're going to read it, and then you're going to answer the fill in the blanks as you go along on the notes. And it makes it pretty fun to answer. Next thing down here on the challenge part, I'm giving you a actual kind of crime scene right here. And I'm asking you to circle what evidence would you collect from this crime scene. And I'm asking you to circle, be interactive. Here's your tools. And then you need to explain how you would use to gather them. So if you circle a leaf, let's say right here, you need to use the text box and tell me how would you use them to gather clues about what happened here. Okay. And then when you're all done with this whole thing, you'll turn it, you'll click hand in work. And you may have to hit it two times. Okay, now's a good time to go over your answers. And then you'll click confirm hand in work. Now, what do I see as far as a teacher when you're doing this? Where I go in and I click on what's called answers. And what I see is if you're actually on the document, which I'm on the document right now, it'll tell me you're working. If you're completely done and you hit that submit button, it'll be blue over here and it'll have your score. So, like the ones that I assigned you last week, I had to go in because there were open-ended questions. So I had to physically go in and grade every single one of your open-ended questions. Yes, I read all your answers. So, that's what I see on my end, and then I'll go in and write down your grade, and I'll go back to Google Classroom, and I'll put your grade in, and then eventually put it in Skyward. So that's kinda how this all runs, how this, Wiser.me runs. I really, really like it. Hopefully you like it too, and it's, a lot better than a boring Google Doc. Okay, so today you guys are gonna be going over some crime scene basics. I'm not gonna go over this step by step, but make sure you know this vocabulary. You know, what is the primary crime scene? What's a secondary crime scene? And of course, there's more. You know, secondary. There could be additional crime parts of a crime scene too. But make sure you know what a suspect, an accomplice, an alibi, and then, of course, we're going to be talking about some of these types of evidence, more of our physical evidence, but know the difference between physical and trace evidence, and also testimonial evidence, and how they may use that from a crime scene. Um, then you need to go over what will evidence collected at the scene do for the investigation? How will it help it? Who actually is at the crime scene? Who usually arrives at the crime scene first? Um, CSI units may depend on the police departments. Some places may not have a CSI unit. So that kind of depends on how large of a police department you may have. District attorneys sometimes will be at a crime scene, but make sure you know what they do. A medical examiner, another name for a medical examiner is, anybody know out there? A coroner. Um, then you'll have maybe some other specialists like what you read last week. You might have some entomologists or botanists that may be a part of it. And then lastly, you'll have some kind of special detectives that may come in and investigate too. Make sure you kind of know the crime scene protocol. These steps may vary, but once they start, when they put that crime scene tape around, their first thing that they're going to be looking at is looking for people to interview and asking what they saw, so forth. So you can kind of read through these steps. I'm not going to go through all of them. Sometimes local police departments do not have labs. So we have a criminal lab. Our state has a criminal lab, and it's part of the KBI. What does that stand for? The Kansas Bureau of Investigation. What is the FBI? The Federal Bureau of Investigation. So we have a couple crime labs. We do have one located here in Kansas City, Kansas, up at the community college. There is a huge one in Topeka, located on the campus of Washburn University. And then there's one out west, might be in Hayes. But There's like 3 or 4 labs in the state, but I think it'd be pretty cool to work in one of these labs. Now, what I did was each one of these little, blue words are actual links to what they actually do in the lab, and they're really little videos that you can watch. We had a lady come into our classroom earlier in the year, and she was part of ballistics, and she talked about how she worked, in the firearms and the tool mark, section. It's kinda cool. So when you do click on these links, it'll bring up a really cool little video. You might have to wait for it to load, but it'll talk about, what they actually do there in the lab. Some of you are interested in that. So fill out your when you're done going through your notes, fill out your worksheet, your interactive worksheet, get it turned in, make sure you confirm it, and then turn it on in. Um, and then I would make sure that you have all this stuff turned in for me. Okay. Um, Mrs. Dickus has sent out a spreadsheet for us, and we're actually filling out like people that have turned in work and people that haven't turned in work. So make sure you're doing that. If not, you'll be hearing from me, and I'll probably be contacting your parents too. So make sure you get your assignments turned in. Again, if you have any questions at all, you guys have been really good about emailing me, and I've been good at trying to get back to you as soon as I can. So please contact me if you have any issue or anything at all that you need to talk about. All right, have a great week. Look out for maybe some assignments that may come in the middle of the week, and then always look for Friday, Forensic File Friday. Have a great week.